My next guest has visited over 70 countries and is here to encourage other African Americans to do the same. Oneika Raymond is a serial expat and travel junkie who has traveled all over the world. She's going to give her 5 best places in the world for black people to travel. How are you, sis? Good to have you on.
Thank you so much. I'm doing well, thanks.
So how did this become a passion for you? Where was the first place you traveled, and how did it become something that you just love to do, not just something you did for work?
Well, you know, the very first place that I traveled was Jamaica. My family is Jamaican, so I had a lot of experiences traveling to the West Indies as well as around the U.S. because I have a lot of family in the U.S. as well. And then when I was in university in my 3rd year, I had the opportunity to study abroad in France, and that was my first transatlantic cross-continental trip, and I just fell in love in traveling after that.
So you have 5 places in the world that you think are great for African Americans: Paris,
Definitely.
Tanzania, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, Brazil, and Tokyo.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about each one. So Paris, why Paris?
Well, basically, when I was looking at places that would be ideal or of particular interest for African-American travelers, I was looking at places that not only had interesting things to see, but also a connection, a strong connection to African-American or black culture. So in terms of Paris, I mean, obviously you have the Eiffel Tower, you have Montmartre, you have these beautiful, you know, squares and great food. But at the same time, it was very much a hotbed of culture. A number of African-American entertainers and intellects went there in the early 1900s to kind of flee racism in the U.S. and also to, you know, express themselves.
But we also know that African-Americans got to learn the language, because you know you can't go to Paris just trying to speak English. Please learn how to say where's the bathroom and hello.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tanzania is your second one. Now, why Tanzania?
Tanzania, again, amazing things to see. So Mount Kilimanjaro, Zanzibar is gorgeous, the Maasai culture, the Serengeti, and then of course obviously a very strong connection to African culture.
Yes. And Abu Dhabi and Dubai, I mean, and we know these are 2 regions of the Emirates, 2 cities, states in the Emirates. But you've got both there. Talk a little bit about the distinction. I just got back from Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Talk about the distinction between the 2 and why you think that's a great place for African Americans to be.
Well, I mean, Dubai and Abu Dhabi are on the radar right now because of the Etihad glitch fare. So the airline Etihad around Christmas time had really cheap tickets to go. So a lot of people were buying tickets. Exactly. So that opened the destination up to a lot of African-American travelers. Abu Dhabi is perhaps not as well known as Dubai, but it does have incredible sites like the Grand Mosque.
Yes.
Dubai, again, you know, large expat kind of population, a lot of African Americans already over there working, great place to party, and just overall a really good introduction to the Middle East, because it's not super different. Let's say it's cosmopolitan and you can feel comfortable still
and it's secular. I mean, it's a secular society where you feel like you're in a Muslim place, but it's definitely not Sharia law. Now, people have had Brazil on the radar for a long time, but what are some of the nuances that make Brazil such a great place to go?
Well, once again, very strong connection to African culture. About half of all slaves that came over to the Americas in the slave trade came to Brazil. So that has very much, you know, African culture has very much shaped Brazilian culture, and we can say that they're pretty much one and the same. Samba is, you know, excellent. I think in the run-up to the Olympics, in terms of tourism, you have a lot of new hotels being built, and as well, the currency is weaker at the moment than it's been in recent years. So I think that this is a prime opportunity to go.
And what about Tokyo?
And Tokyo, well, quite interesting. I went around around this time last year with a girlfriend of mine, and we had an excellent time. Funnily enough, Japanese the Japanese are very interested in hip hop, in hip hop and reggae dance hall culture. So not only is, Japanese culture very interesting in and of itself, with the geisha culture and kabuki and all these sorts of things, but as well, there's a real appreciation and appropriation in some cases of reggae and dance hall and hip hop music.
And like the other places, there's a huge expat community there. You'll find a ton of African Americans.
I think it's all about feeling comfortable in the places that you go to, especially if you have not traveled a lot.
Now, the last thing really quickly is how important is it for African Americans to, even if you don't know where you're going or when you're going, to invest in getting a passport?
Oh, of such importance. I mean, if only to take advantage of all of these glitch fares.
Right.
I mean, if you can see the world at a fraction of the price, how upsetting would it be to not be able to take advantage of that opportunity because you don't have a passport? Travel expands your horizons. Seeing the world helps you to learn. I've learned languages from traveling. I met my husband abroad. I mean, it's such an invaluable life lesson or life lessons that you can glean from being on the road.
Well, and you never know when the opportunities are going to come. I mean, I just got back from Amsterdam with my daughter, and it came out of the blue, and had I not been able to pay the expedited fare for the passport, I would have lost an opportunity to take her. And so I really think that's an important piece, especially for parents, to make sure they get their kids a passport. Now, if people want to follow you, look at what you're doing, how do they follow you?
They can definitely hit me up on my blog. It's www.oneikathetraveller with 2 L's.com, or on Twitter or Instagram. And my name is Oneika Traveller on both of those.
We're so glad to have you with us. Thanks so much for not just all you're doing, but how you're sharing it. Coming up, you all on News One now, Antonio the Cuban cigar smoker, Lambertise, Kitty Kaboom, and crazy Aruba Tommy Bennett join me for What the Hell Thursday. Hit me up with your thoughts on Twitter at Jeff's Nation or on our News One Facebook page. It is 43 after the hour. We'll be right back.